Thank you so much for staying here with us. And now, joining us on the show today is an Nigerian pop musician, singer, songwriter, and music producer who rose to fame in the music scene in the 90s after releasing his hit song, Celebrate, which became a global disco hit. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Alex O in the building.
Thank you.
Alex O without the Jerry Curls. I got you.
Yes, because I mean, you were in the in thing in the 90s with the Jerry Curls, the R&B swag, you know, and everything. And
yes, you know, well, first, thank you for making it possible for me to be here. I'm happy to be here. Thank you. Yes, you know, during that time, you needed to look as fashionable as possible, and whatever fashionable meant, you know. Frying your hair, putting the earrings, and, you know, getting them to be as long.
It's what they are doing now.
Yes.
What they are doing. We'll not say when he's 60.
Yes.
You not say,
I'll still be rocking this. I did all of these things that you guys are doing now. Do you always feel that kind of way when you just see artists these days and you just like,
I've been there, done that.
like, oh, all these things that you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, if you are in the profession that requires that you know, get attention towards yourself when you come out in the public. So you do whatever works for you. You understand? There's nothing really wrong with it, whether it's the earring or the long hair or the T-shirts and, you know, as long as it works for you.
Yeah. I hope that Nigerian parents have just tuned in into the show and they heard
And they
that
got
one.
that?
Because they don't agree.
I know.
I wonder what it was like in your time.
Yes.
Because if it can still be like
Yes,
that
now, during our time, it was difficult to even open up to your parents or whoever is your guardian that's taking care of you that, oh, I want to go into music. It was difficult. But in my own case, I think they knew who I was, who I still am, you know, and they knew that I was a little bit more grounded than most musicians. Then, you know, when you're talking about following family values, you don't do this, you're not supposed to do that, you don't bring your family name out there, you know, to disrepute and all that whole. So they knew I wasn't going to go out of line with that. So that helped them to, first of all, say, okay, let's pray for you and make sure that you remain who you are while you do. I said, I was going to see music as a job that I was going to go and do and nothing else. So all that smoking, all that whole stuff, yes, I was not into any of those.
Interesting stuff.
And I was also lucky to have been trained by people who...
I was just going to talk about that. You had a tutelage, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
Uncle Steve Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you work with Uncle Steve Rhodes, you have to know what you're doing because he's not somebody who comes and lets you play around when you're supposed to be serious, you understand? So I was lucky. And he did that. First of all, he gave me voice lessons for 1 year, 6 months.
What?
I'm telling you. Then started putting me out with the musicians to be performing at concert. And as I'm telling you right now, 1 naira he didn't take from me. You understand? You know, I just knocked on his door. I said, sir, this is what I want to do. I don't know how you can help me. After seeing him on his show, Steve Rhodes' Voices show. Yes, and I went and he said, okay, come.
Okay, so I'd like to ask, when you see people these days and they don't really go through that mentorship, somebody training them, and they're just doing their thing, do you think that there is a vacuum, considering the fact that it was well obtained in your own era?
Yes, there is. I think that it's necessary to learn more, to organize yourself more. Even like these days, most people think all that matters is getting out there and blowing, you know, I want to blow.
I want to blow.
Now, if you didn't learn enough, if you didn't experience enough before getting to blow, when you are at the point where you are already blown, then you start to do things that will destroy the blow. You understand what I mean? How to conduct yourself in the public, especially these days of the social media thing. You know, you have to figure out what pictures to upload, what pictures not to upload, what videos to put out there, the videos you mustn't put out there, because there are things, our society is still not like the American society, where no matter how ugly the story about you is or whatever, people look at it, oh, okay, it's popular now. You understand? Nigerian society is still different. They want to see you look at you from a point of view of somebody who has to be decent, behave well, because their children are watching as well. Sure. So when you start to come up with some of those funny behaviors and stuff, they will look at you, from that perspective.
You're not a role model.
I have a question.
Correct.
I have a question for you, sir. Okay. So now we know that going into the studio now, relatively simple. I think I can walk into the studio now and then come out with a song. Yeah. How difficult was it making music back then without all of this electronics and all that we have right now?
Oh, it was absolutely difficult. Number one, there were so many artists and there were very few recording companies, maybe around 3 or 4. And you can imagine what... So before you even get the opportunity, you have to submit your material. In fact, you go to the record company every day until the A&R manager sees you, has the chance to see you. Then they go through your songs. We don't like this, please.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, we like the way he sings, but we don't like the songs. Can you go do something, make it more commercial? You continue to go through that drill until they see, okay, these are the things we can market. And then the opportunity comes. And then I did a little bit of that. Luckily for me, after, joining, my times with Uncle Steve Rhodes, I now joined Lemmy Jackson.
Okay.
Lemmy Jackson was the #1 music producer in the 90s. And so he signed me onto his record label, but was not ready to fund the entire... So I now had to be working with him in the recording studios when he was producing. So I was able to learn music production, how to do it. So by the time I now did another demonstration tape after a while, I didn't go to any record company.
Fantastic. Fantastic. But then I actually want to quickly add this to it because reading about you now, I see that you're a film, animation producer.
Yes.
I want to know how you evolved and how you're able to use the technology now.
Okay, now the thing is, like she was saying, continuing from answering that question, she was asking, now we have technology. So it's easy to even have your own studio on the laptop.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Then it was not easy, And by the time you are giving, let's say, about 7 or 8 sessions of 8 hours each session to finish a group of songs, about 7 to 8 songs, that means you have to do your homework before you even go to the studio. Otherwise, when the sessions finish, you're on your own. You understand? But these days, with the studio in your house, you can work on a song for 2 months non-stop until it starts sounding the way you want it to sound, the way you want it to come out. And that makes it a whole lot easier than what it used to be then.
Wow.
So now, at the point... side of you. Yes. At the point, my first album came out 88. Second, third, fourth, fifth, So my career peaked. And at that particular time, there were a whole lot of challenges the music industry was facing. Piracy was overwhelmingly strong, that it was even difficult for the record companies to even do proper business and make money, and a whole lot of things started going, haywire. And I looked at it, I'm like, so what do I have to do? How can I reinvent myself? What do I do to prepare myself and position myself for what happens in the future? Yeah. So I said, okay, maybe I should travel and see. Yes. Travel out of Nigeria. And I wasn't the only one. Almost all my colleagues, ranging from Alexito to Mike Okri to Raskimono to everybody. Yeah. Because of what was going on in the industry. So I traveled but I never left music. All the years I was outside Nigeria, whether it's Europe, anywhere, all the countries all that I was doing was still performing. Singing, concerts, playing, producing, and the only thing I wasn't doing was releasing songs, you understand? And I have been accumulating a whole lot of songs since then. In fact, close to 200 songs that I have right now to put out there. So when our label starts, rolling, we're going to have a lot of materials for the artists that will...
Looking forward to
it. Amazing.
So, and during that time out there, I also saw an opportunity to enroll and study film and animation. Yes, and it came quite handy because when I now came back, I'm still producing for
Art
the
in
artists.
art,
Then
yeah.
you can now, it's all
Chop
part of the art.
everywhere.
I love it, but
Yes. So
let's go on a quick
music,
break.
I produce music videos.
Yeah. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we're still going to have the veteran, Alex O, in the building. As you can see, he has a lot to tell us. But let's check out his video. Let's see.
The Jericho one.
Magic. The curls.
Yes, sir. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We still have Nigerian musician, film graphics, animation producer, veteran Alexo in the building.
With the Jackson 5 energy, because that was some what?
I had to say, you were so foreign. Yes. Gosh. And you were doing some explanations. I mean, shout out to Inka Davis.
Yes,
In that video with the lemon top and all the skirts. And then you said you had Sammy Oposo too as your part of your band.
With us. Yes,
oh my God. Like, tell us some
Quincy,
more.
one of the topmost producers in South Africa right now, was also in the band.
Wow.
Yes. So,
And who produced that? Who directed that?
okay, you mean this video?
Yes.
Oh, that's the big boss we call Dudu Productions. Yes.
Interesting.
Oh my word, you are definitely such a hit for even Faze in originality to give you some accolades, give you your flowers.
Alexo.
How did you feel? How did you feel when you heard it?
When they told me about it, I'm like, okay, at least some of the younger guys realize that we laid the foundation.
No, we know. Some people don't know, but it is not my business. If they'll not go, that's why we take them to history school on this show.
Yes, which is lovely. You know, it's good at least for you guys to take the chance to tell everybody these are the guys who laid the foundation of what you're doing today.
Talking about foundation, you were, like she said, like you sounded foreign.
Yes, when I started, you know, my background and everything that, you know, so when I started...
So you're from Imo State.
No, I always say it, but you see, the influences I had, the music that I listened to, the people that I worked with. Lemmy Jackson studied overseas, worked overseas before. You know, Uncle Steve Rhodes, even though he Africanizes a whole lot of things, and he is also, you understand. And then my upbringing as well. I was brought up here in Nigeria, in Imo State, but the people who brought me up, my eldest sister and the husband, they lived in London all through the... So when they came back, So, but by the time my first album came out, in fact, a guy told his brother in the US to look for that album, Getting Loose, by Alex O. So the brother now called him back later to tell him, but he's been told that the guy is Nigerian. And the music is, you understand? So he now went, asked around, so, you know, and then when he contacted me, he actually, that was one of the first shows I performed in Port Harcourt. You know, they were the ones who, so I saw that, and people talked about that. It sounded good, but I needed more. So the second album, I started bringing, you know, the pidgin rap, make we take some time to bubble and shuffle after all the hustle and bustle. Yes, I started adding that. Then I started putting wah, 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 damn, you know, the Igbo chorus. Yes, to make it, to be more to get more acceptance in Nigeria, you understand? And it worked. By the time I did that, we sold much more than we were actually expecting.
All right, I want to know, this new generation now, how do you feel? Like when you sit back and look at them from somebody who's been behind the scenes, in front of the camera, you know exactly what they should be doing. How do you think they're doing?
I think they're doing well. I think that they're taking advantage of the technological advancements and putting it to good use for themselves, you understand? They're doing well. When you watch people like Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy...
Winning Grammy.
And what they're now able to do, the things we were trying to do that we couldn't do, you understand? You know, I think they're doing well. They're working hard. Not all of them, though, because a lot of the others are still doing guesswork. And in this job, you can't do guesswork. You have to work hard. You have to work on the song. You have to work on... They're doing well. They're doing well, and we thank God for them. And the things they're doing are opening more doors for the rest of us. And also, the fact that there is now the internet. I was watching a show some time ago on TV, on one of the channels. They were showing, was it Davido and who again? They were singing some South American concert. And the crowd, they were singing their lyrics line by line. How did they get to know it? How did they get... The internet.
Internet.
Interesting.
We didn't
stuff.
have those,
Interesting
so we thank God for them, and
happening.
they're doing well, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
As you've said that, you've never left music.
No, I
You
never
have
did.
a lot that you have not even released.
Yes,
I really want to
absolutely.
know, is there anybody that you'd like to, I mean, I'm talking about this new generation that you'd
Okay.
like to do stuff with? Because I read somewhere that you said you cannot pay any new artist to. In fact, I have like 1,001 questions. I don't know whether to join everything. And because I will remember, if you don't, let me know, please. And
You're
then-
free. Well, I'm here for you guys today.
and then again, you know how these days when people want to talk, they talk about you and they say, oh, old
Old school.
artists,
Yes,
old school
yes,
artists. In
yes.
fact, old school is even good, but old, they are old. And I don't know how you see that. How do you feel when people say that you're old? Don't you think once a musician, always a musician?
That's exactly the statement I was going to say right now. What you just said. If you're a musician, you're a musician. That's who you are. Dolly Parton, what's the name? Lionel Richie, these guys are still performing. So it depends on, at the end of the day, it depends on what song you're bringing out. What kind of material are you putting out there that will make sense to who wants to listen? That's very important, If you are, it doesn't matter whether you're, there's a new song I have right now, Shine Like a Star. I still did my R&B thing on top of it, added a bit of Igbo and Pidgin here and there, and collaborated with a big star from Europe, Prince Amaho. Prince Amaho. Now, when you listen to it, you can hear that these sounds that they're using now, the kind of sounds they're using is what's used there.
True.
So you have to be able to adapt and fit into what's happening today. And in Nigeria today, we used to do a lot of ballads, those slow songs, stretch. And
Now what's Zazu?
Nigerians want to dance. And you can't ignore that fact. So whatever you're doing, you have to think towards that area.
So,
you understand?
Who is the artist you want to collaborate with?
In Nigeria, there are a whole lot of them that I would like to work with. So many of them who are doing well. What I would not want to do is to mention the person before I even speak to you understand, whoever. But one has to be careful. Not everybody has the good attitude required when it comes to collaborations or featuring somebody. I'm sure you have an idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
I have watched some videos of popular artists. The music that's playing has the voice of another popular artist, but his pictures are not on that video.
Yeah.
You understand? So I got to find out that some of them, to even get them to come and take part in the video is a problem. Even to finish a song in the studio is a problem. So when you start on such a journey with such an artist, then you have a problem because you started putting in money and you don't know if you're going to finish it. When are you going to finish? And the artist doesn't show up. What happens?
Wow.
So one has to be very, very careful who to feature or who to collaborate with and on what terms.
Yeah.
So I think that particular one that I will not pay anybody. If it's necessary that I pay somebody money, there's nothing wrong with that. I think I was quoted after.
Yeah.
Oh, out of context.
I'm not a politician, though.
Definitely, we'll definitely be looking out for works from you.
Yes.
And of course, we got you right here at TBC
Yes.
on E-Splash. We'll definitely slam your work. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Alexo without the cherry coil.
Bad boy.
All right, guys, and on that note, we have come to the end of today's show. We hope you guys had a blast with all the throwback vibes and, of course, our amazing guests in the building.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of all of us, Honeypot, OJ, and myself, Dala, we will see you guys later. All right? Thank you for watching.